of continuing professional development focus on the development of professional capacity of doctors, other healthcare professionals, as well as the professionals who are engaging with healthcare professionals like life science companies and pharmaceuticals companies, professionals. That's the idea around this continuing professional development program. Today's topic, we have the human-centric approach in healthcare and pharmaceutical. So we'll start with the quiz, and I will have more engaging with the audience. But let me first do the two formalities. Formality number one, to announce the disclaimer. Disclaimer is that all the people in the panel, they are present here, speaking here at their personal capacity. Their opinion is not the opinion of the company or organizations they are working in. That's their personal capacity. There is no financial assistance grant given or taken for this program. This is purely academic. No financial transactions has been made here of any kind. Number three, for the audience, sometimes this get disconnected, so try to reconnect it. You see at your mobile, wherever or whatever platform you're logging, there is a red button to reconnect. You can reconnect it. Sometimes video will go out, but you will get it soon, as soon as the internet speed is proper. Now I see my panelist is just gone out. Maybe because of the internet speed, he may be joining by the time. Let me wait for him. Yeah, he's back here only. So as a professionals in healthcare or pharmaceutical, I'm asking to my participants today, what do you understand about, or what is your idea of human center? Can you put in the chat box, how do you see human center approach in healthcare? So use the chat box freely to communicate with us. I will read your messages along with your name. What is your idea of human centric approach in healthcare and pharmaceuticals? Meantime, let me introduce to you the panelists. We have privilege to have today in this program Dr. Jayaprakash. Dr. Jayaprakash is a consultant diabetologist at Apollo Sugar, Hyderabad, Banjara Hill, the most posh area of Hyderabad. But that is not the full introduction of him. I see him as a very visionary, totally different person than many of the healthcare professionals. His care for the patient, his openness for the ideas is something what made me to request to join for this session rather than just being a doctor. That's I think I would request Dr. Jayaprakash himself to say about yourself. Before that, let me also talk about Velu. Velu and me, we have never met earlier. So first time we are meeting face to face virtually, but possibly thanks to LinkedIn and so many virtual programs, webinars happening nowadays, at least we share some of the ideas, some of the concerns, some of the thought process without meeting in person. Velu is heading marketing in Merck for cardiology and metabolic endocrinology therapy area. Tell about yourself. Beyond that, you are a consultant diabetologist and heading Apollo Sugar in Banjara Hill. Beyond that, and second thing, how do you see what are the changes is going to happen post COVID-19 era among the patients and their interaction with healthcare professionals? I think there is a problem. He's getting call and that get disconnected. So by the time, yeah, he's back again. I don't know. Today again there is a lot of problem happening in internet.
Network issues, yeah. Network issues are there.
Good evening, friends. It is a very valid question and the current COVID-19 situation. I am Dr. Jayaprakash, currently associated with Apollo Sugar Clinics, Hyderabad. I'm also very actively involved in a Rotary Club. I served as the president for Rotary Club of Hyderabad Central. I'm also very active in social activities and public awareness activities. And what Pranav was asking that the current situation, how patient interaction with the doctor. So currently I am, because I have
Oh my God, it looks again problem
Yeah,
in the
I
voice.
think the connection is an issue.
a data.
But we can hear
Hello?
you. You can continue,
Hi.
please.
So currently what I am saying, the background of how I am managing the patient. See, we have a database of 4,000 patients, which luckily I'm in an organization where every patient walks in, have an EMR, enter their data. So now I am able to connect with this online, with a online chat. But only problem is this COVID-19 has created a panic because of due to pandemic situation. So patients are a little bit worried what will happen, because that has created a fear in everybody. Actually, COVID-19 is not a condition to, it's like a fear. Somebody thinks that COVID-19 aate hi, it's going to be a death. So that the self-confidence means that empowerment and everything is like very shaky, especially for patients. So they are thinking because the social media and the TV channels, everything suppose especially in Italy, in US, COVID-19 aate, they are like dying, and even if you see that WhatsApp videos, WhatsApp photos, more of a panicky situation has been created. So what I was trying to counsel patient with my small videos taken in with my own phone, trying to give a message. First, we should no need to panic. More important is taking precautionary measures, which everybody knows, that hand washing, wearing a mask, and social distancing, and following the guidelines of the government. What I have learned in my interaction of last 2 months with the patients, interestingly, all my patients, sugar levels have come down. But what I am hearing from my colleagues, the sugar levels are very high because of the fear. What I have seen a lot of patients, Dr. Saab, हम थोड़ा हमारा lifestyle change किए. We are eating a lot of healthy foods. Previously, they used to have a lot of hotel food, more of junk food. Now, at least they have become very disciplined in their dietary patterns. And a lot of people started doing meditation. Those who are like very smart people and smart patients, they are trying to listen to nice melodies, prayers. Like some people have changed their lifestyle to meditation. And I'm seeing a lot of people eating green leafy vegetables. I have seen a lot of people becoming vegetarians. And interestingly, a lot of diabetes control is very good. And what I have seen when I have sent small videos to my patients, see, the more we talk about complications and you tell that in COVID-19 situation, diabetic patient is at high risk, aapko aisa ho jata waisa, I never given any messages in my videos. I have given very positive messages to my patients. No need to panic. Make sure that you are compliant with your medication. Medicine is very important. Don't skip the medicines. Have a regular checkup, and having a glucometer in home is an asset, because now we cannot go to a lab and check. So self-monitoring of blood glucose also I advised my patients. I am trying to see whomever I am talking on WhatsApp video call, they are feeling very comfortable. Sometimes some patients who are like seeing my face only, they are very happy. See, sometimes the more we panic the patient, it's very difficult to control. Always positive messages, counseling, education, and we should see that patient is also like our family member. So I always see that the connect between the doctor and patient relation should be a family. So that makes your things very simpler. Previously, I used to do in WhatsApp these messages. Now I am officially doing in a formatted way, whatever, thanks to Corona or whatever. But everything is like in a PDF formatted prescription. I am trying to connect with the pharmacy. So obviously, we have one advantage of Apollo Pharmacy. The prescription is connected to the Apollo Pharmacy. They do delivery in 48 hours. The patient doesn't need to go out. Even Apollo has this home sample collection. One person goes and takes the sample. Reports come in a PDF format. So I get the reports and I talk to the patient. I adjust the medicine. I talk to my nurse who sits in my clinic. Only one nurse goes to the clinic, but no patient goes to the clinic. The nurse sends back to me the prescription, and I send back the adjusted medication, and she sends to the patient. But I talk to the patient because what their complaints, sometimes video call, sometimes teleconsultation. But more important in COVID-19 as gave a lesson, health is very important because our governments also never focused on health. At least now, because prevention, always we talk, eat an apple a day and keep the doctor away. Prevention is better than cure. This is all we talk. People talk about this, that. But really COVID-19 made healthcare is more important. Healthcare worker is like a warrior, is a front warrior. So now government also focusing that health is very important. At least I am happy that our Prime Minister also is very proactive Prime Minister we have. I think India can beat COVID-19. I think Indians are always strong. Only thing is a little bit in this social distancing we don't understand. This is the only problem. If you see olden days in houses, outside one bucket and water will be there. There will be soap. Before you enter house, you have to wash your hands and you should go. You should wash your legs and you go inside the house. Now in the COVID-19 thought to wash hands, of course, obviously we are washing hands inside the house. That's a different because of organization, technology, everything. Because of previously, you see in Goa, the houses are very in a single houses. Goa and Kerala is fortunate to have their houses independent houses. They have a natural protection. If you see the cities, very congested. You'll have 1,000, 2,000 people living in one area. I think in future we'll see that environmental friendly houses, giving more space to greenery. I'm seeing a lot of greenery last 2 months. One side we are panicking of COVID-19, but one side our earth has become green.
True. I think this adversity sometimes become very, very important to rejuvenate and rather reset the whole ecosystem for the better. No doubt on that. We'll come back to you, Dr. Jayaprakash, again with the questions. Let me introduce Velu to the group. Velu, just tell about yourself and what the changes you see because you lead a marketing team and marketing team directs the medical representative and the land managers, their interaction to healthcare professionals, their interaction with the patient sometimes in the camp another way, as well as with the chemist, right? So how things are going to change after this COVID-19?
Yeah, hope I am audible and clear.
Yeah.
Hope I am audible, Mr. Pranav.
Yes,
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for giving this opportunity. And as you rightly said, for me, it's more than 19 years in the pharma industry. and I've come across some very good doctors like Dr. Jaiprakash Sai, who actually embraces patient centricity. Right at the beginning of his whatever I've met him, he has been in the forefront of all these things. But what he said was a key message, which I got from his message was being as a family with the patient. The doctors make a big difference if they can do that, if they can be part of the family of the patient. In fact, I think patient centricity is a buzzword in the pharma industry. I see some very good chat messages. People speak about patient at the center of all activities which we do. And if at all you have to take a decision about me, it should not be done without me. This is the NHS post, I think somebody have put it, which is absolutely right. So I would say patient centricity is here to stay, and especially in this kind of a situation, how things will change for pharma industry, according to me, is empathy is going to play a very key role. Most importantly, we have to be very respectful of the situation, what is happening. So we can't just barge in, especially when the medical reps move on to meet doctors. I think they have to respect the doctor's time with the patients. So that's the first step which we have to do. Post-COVID, in my opinion, it's going to be a critical piece. Nobody knows what is going to happen now once the things open up and how the situations will change. I'm sure doctors will have their priorities right for the patients. As a pharma company, we also need to have our priorities right, that we don't really trouble them between seeing the patients and us. Of course, we are giving some very important information to be shared with the doctor. Patient centricity has been discussed for a long time. What I feel is patient centricity can be at three levels. It can be at an intellectual level, which means we read in textbooks that this is what the patients feel and this is what can be done for a patient. Secondly, at a related level, which means you see patients who are known to you, that this is what they have in terms of a disease and this is what they suffer. And the third one is experiencing self, which I think all of you will understand that every one of us have been patients at one point or the other in our life, and we know exactly what is it to be a patient. So in that way, I think this patient centricity or empathy will come once we start feeling the same as what a patient will feel. Once the pharma industry also thinks in that lines, I think most of them are moving towards that line, and then we are able to give the right message to the doctors. We are not speaking only about numbers in the studies. We are speaking about real feelings. In fact, pharma industries have moved to the next level now. Even the clinical trial setup, the outcomes are patient-related outcomes, not just mortality, morbidity, blood sugar has come down, blood pressure has come down, and it has been a mandate now that the patient-related outcomes has to be included. So overall, I think pharma industry is gearing up towards it. As colleagues in pharma industry also need to think that we are not dealing with the numbers, we are dealing with emotions. This is my first take, Mr. Pranav, on patient centricity and the current situation. Over to you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We'll have an opinion poll at this moment. So I'm requesting my participants in this group. I'm publishing a statement here, and I'm asking you which among the following statement resonates better to you regarding practice of medicine. Doctors and hospitals should focus on managing disease strictly as per the protocol, guidelines, anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. The abstract word to resonates to say about that. And second is should consider socio-economic context of patient, anthropology, sociology, economics, and psychology. So at least anthropology, sociology, and economics is the art subjects. It is not considered as a science subject. So should it be considered in the practice of medicine? That is a question. And I'm going to end the poll. Now I saw good response. So I'm going to show you the response. Is interesting. 100% people says that science is not enough for the practice of medicine. There has to be an art in terms of the patient context. So anthropology is very, very important. And there is a discipline called medical anthropology. I don't know how the pharmaceutical company are using that, but I personally is touched and working on medical anthropology. I say it's called ethnography. I use ethnography for many of the projects to understand the context of the physician, the doctors, as well as the patient a better in which they work, so that you can have a better product, better solution, better services on that. So that's a integration of science and art. We come back to more poll later on. Let me come back to here Professor Sai now. Professor Jayaprakash Sai, how do you see empathy can be embedded in the practice of medicine? How to as a hospital, mostly people when talk about patient and the doctor, or anything happening, like the killing of laborers in the COVID situation now, people talks about sympathy. People don't give attention about empathy. So how you see uses of empathy to being more empathetic in the practice of medicine?
Yeah, that's a very important question, because pre-COVID, we used to be, means it is very easy for us to show empathy, and patient also is to feel the doctor also is a. Now post-COVID, we see that now that the fear and the panic created in general community. So even if you see that, if in your area, some area where red zones, you don't feel that going to that area. And there is a lot of, you have been hearing in the news that some community has got a lot of cases. And even in some places, even a doctor has died and they are not allowed for his to take his funeral part. So this is a very important question you asked. COVID-19 has made a lot of changes in human relations. See, being human is also very important, irrespective of whatever happening in the world. We should all unite, irrespective of religion, irrespective of caste. We should unite. Then only we can defeat anything in this world. The unity is very important. So I think empathy is very important part, irrespective of whatever religion, caste, or whatever you talk, rich or poor. In my opinion, let us keep the COVID-19 aside and focus on the person and how to deal with him. And I think education is very important in this aspect. I think somewhere higher education, how you should deal, the lower education, how should you deal. It all matters in the team. Suppose I'm in a clinic. I think empathy is not only should be given by me. Empathy should be given by the whole team. Even the reception person who is sitting in the reception also is very important. Actually, empathy starts from the first place. So that makes more confidence for the person who is visiting the clinic. For that matter, any person who is, because you win the heart only by empathy, not by any other things. You may be whatever rich you may be, but if you are showing empathy, I think that makes you more, that makes wonders. In my practice, I have seen, I never ask the patient when they come inside with their prescriptions, with their high sugars. No, I never show any sympathy. I first talk I always call by their name, and I divert the topic. I get into their shoes. Then they also get into my shoes. So then you get the connect. See, connect, patient-doctor connect is very important. What I feel that from reception, even a nurse, even a diabetes educator, even a phlebotomist who takes the blood also has to show empathy in this critical time. I think empathy has come down. Maybe COVID-19, not only empathy, even sympathy also has come down. That human relations, I think, because COVID-19 is like, okay, if I live for this day, if I am alive, I am happy. So if my family is alive, I should be happy. That has created, because they fear that if I go out, something is getting me, and that the other person will infect me. So that has, because of lack of education, even the social media also has not given any proactive, positive messages. Education is the more we are educated also sometimes leads to problem. the lesser education also is a problem. So I think empathy is very important. Empathy has to be played by everybody. And this current situation
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
patient,
So,
doctor, and
uh,
entire healthcare team.
so
See,
Dr.
empathy also. See, I'm very fortunate to tell that I have seen a lot of people, especially from the pharma industry, they are very empathic towards doctors. Do COVID-19. Actually, everybody should sit in their home. I am seeing people are coming in their own cars and giving me face mask, PEP kits, hand sanitizers. I'm really impressed with pharma industry. I said, why you were taken so much risk coming from other place? And no, sir, it's fine. See, that you make yourself, you feel happy.
so the Dr. Sai,
Sometimes no, the
yeah.
small things, whatever that face mask is all the way is coming and giving. So sometimes now I feel pharma also is like, so they are also like, okay, it is not about asking, talking about their products. It is only they're just coming, sir, you're fine. I think we all should be together in this COVID-19 situation. I'm really impressed with the pharma, the way they were like all the way coming from their very far places and coming and giving me the kits. So that made me a lot of, I was very happy personally. I think Pranav, more important in this condition, we have to be first being human. I think first this is a lesson for everybody. And during COVID-19 situation, we lost that. I think we should see that we should focus. Everybody is equal, and if we are all unite, we can defeat COVID-19.
Right,
That's
right.
my
Exactly.
personal.
Well said.
Good. I think it reminded me interesting movie actually. What you said, na Munna Bhai MBBS, right? That was movie name Sanjay Dutt
Yeah.
and but it was showing the both the faces, Dr. Asthana and Munna Bhai, the Jadoo Ki Jappi. So I think our panelists as well as the participant today more is in favor of Munna Bhai, not Dr. Asthana, where he says about you can't have emotion or relation with the patient, right? That was a maybe old way of doing practice
Yeah.
of medicine. Now, Velu, so what we saw, we listened Dr. Jaka saying that the pharmaceutical companies are empathetic to doctors. And I have a comments, I will come back to that comments a little later, but before that, I would like to ask you, beyond, you are right, pharmaceutical company are becoming empathetic to the doctors by giving them a lot of things which is required at this moment, but how a pharmaceutical company in practice should really be empathetic to the patient?
Good question, Mr. Pranav. Actually, while I appreciate the number of colleagues who have moved out and support the doctors in terms of giving them all the materials which are needed. Only thing is, I would, from the company perspective, the company should ensure that employees are also protected. Of course, doctors are doing their job. If they are doing it on their own, I'll be more than happy. If there is on a personal note, yes, it is a lot of empathy. But I would also believe the company right at the top needs to think about empathy for their employees in the first place. Once you are more empathetic towards your own employees, then the patient centricity and empathy, it follows after that. So if I am somebody who's managing the company, I will ensure that my employees just then don't move out for the sake of it. Of course, we have to meet our customers. We have to be meeting them regularly to ensure that the business connectivity is there. But if it is on a personal note, I'm fine. There is no issues. But it should not be a forceful thing. I see many companies venturing out, and there was a very sad news recently that some production employees succumbed to COVID-19 recently. So if it's a forced thing, I think I will be against it. It should be a very important call for the company to ensure that the empathy first you show to the employees, and then you show to the next step will automatically follow. And the question which you asked is why company should be, how the company should be empathetic towards patients. And I think I've briefed it very well in the beginning, as well as Dr. Sai has very clearly stated that You have to feel them. Actually, you can't treat them as a subject. As he rightly said, he tries to connect with them as much as possible. This connection is critical. So when we make a communication or a message from our perspective, from a pharma perspective, you don't just say that this is what I have. My product does this. My product does that. So at the end of the day, doctor is not worried about what your product does. Doctor is actually worried about what is going to happen to his patients. So once we realize that and we start communicating, that doctor, you being the doctor who's going to make a difference to the patient's life, you can be well supported by the product which we have. Basically, partnering with them, not showing that you are the ones who are going to make the change. It's at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, and this is the truth also, the doctor is making the patient's life better. Sir, it's not because you are there. I'm truly believe in it. It's the doctor who makes a decision for the patient at the end of the day. So we are here to partner the medical profession. So that empathy needs to come out. When you speak about a patient, you speak about doctor, your patient has so and so things. You can better manage your patients by using a particular drug, because this is what will need your help your patients to move a little bit longer in terms of walk. If he's able to walk a kilometer, now he'll be able to walk another kilometer along with his friends. This is possible because if you can provide this difference, to make this difference to the patient by choosing my drug. So that is the way we need to communicate. We can't say that my product this does, my product is this, I am the number one, I am the first one in the market, I do this, I do that. I don't think it sides with the doctors. I would like to take the opinion of Dr. Sai here on this particular point.
Come back again, your question?
Question is, do you like when a communication from a pharma person, a company speaks about my product does this, my product does that, or you believe, doctor, you can make a difference to your patient by choosing my product? Which of these two communication you would prefer?
Yeah, I agree with the second statement. I don't like that this number one company, we are doing this much business and we are ranked number 3. I'll prefer the drug which is very compliant, patient happy with the drug. In my practice also, I like the drug which works for the patient friendly with less side effects and long-term protection from complications. I think that is more important rather than talking about XYZ about a company. I see the product. In wholesome, the product is very important.
True. And we want to speak the patient's language, sir, because we believe that makes a difference. Because we speak about, doctor, your patient suffers from so and so issues. You can make a difference to the patient by choosing our product. So that should be the language, rather than speaking, my product will do this to the patient. No, you are going to do it through what we are providing to you in terms of partnering. That is the most important thing.
Agreed,
I think once we have this clearly in our mind, I think the communications will change substantially. So also speaking to the patient becomes critical, because we are all worried for some of the multinational companies, at least we can't talk to the patients directly. We can't engage with the patients, but that doesn't stop us from understanding the pain of the patients. We need to work with patient associations. I think there was a good question on what investments we need to do as far as understanding patient needs. We need to work with the patient groups, understand them, what do they exactly need. So that is the way I think the company will move forward, or the products will move forward. Once we start doing that, I think we make a big difference in terms of what we are going to do. And it should be consultative, not one parrot kind of a messaging that this is what I am here to tell you. I told all of it what I'm supposed to tell, and I'm moving back. No, ask the doctor, find out the needs. If this is the need, there is something called a job to be done. I've just read an article which my colleague just shared recently in Harvard Business Review, which speaks about a job to be done. We always choose a particular product to do something for us. Doctors also chooses a product to do something for the patient. If the product does that, the doctor is going to continue. It's not going to change, right? So that is the one thing which we need to focus on. Is that product which we have is going to make the difference? Is it going to do the job for the doctor? If you are able to connect that particular dot, a job to be done. So I think we make a big difference as a pharma company. This is my take.
So actually, let us face the fact. What you said and what Dr. Jayaprakash said is what to be done or should be done. But the fact is that both the side, doctors are very poor listeners. They don't listen to the patient. I see the comments. I think you must have seen that. Professor Vivek, he has been in industry for 46 years. He writes that in my 46 year in pharma industry, I have seen right from the day when he was MR, doctors are poor listener. If you don't listen, how can you empathize? At the same time, Professor Vivek also says that they don't have time because the number of patient is huge, right? If you start listening to the patient, every patient properly, possibly you not be able to see many other patient, and number of doctors per 1,000 patient is very less, much below than the WHO requirement also. So what I see here is the gap between intention and the fact actually what is happening, and there could be two reason of this gap, and maybe two solutions, the same can be solutions to bridge the gap. One is that people are not sensitized enough to be empathetic in their strategy practices, number one. Number two, they may not be having understood the value of that. I may not be knowing the know-how, how to put empathy in the practice, or how to put empathy in the strategy, marketing plan, marketing strategy itself for the healthcare professional, how to put those empathy or the good thing in the real world practice. This is the gap. And the good part of this is that globally, I see a lot of organizations, people working to bridge this gap in terms of new methodology, in terms of different sessions, interactions they have cross industry, cross group, patient group, or the physicians group, to figure out how to resolve that. All know that what is good, but fact is that we are not doing good, really good, which we know that is good. At least we should do what we know that is good. The example is very clear here, being empathetic, but we are not doing that. That's the fact. Now let's wait for another interaction with the audience participants, which is related to what we are talking right now. So this question is that which among the following resonates better to you considering high patient population? So giving attention to human aspect will cost more time and money, hence not practical in India. Giving attention to human aspect will improve health outcome, hence eventually will be efficient. People are responding, I see. I think all the participants and panelists today we have is a very evolved lot. They think in the same direction, same way. So I just ended poll, and the result is 100%. So everybody, all the participants and the panel in agreement that giving attention to human aspect will improve health outcome, hence eventually will be efficient and effective, right? So that is the real concern which came in the chat also, that because the number of patients with the doctor is very high, how can they pay attention to every patient, right? So I think we'll discuss that little late further on that. Let me see some of the comments there. Raja Reddy, who was in panel just 2 sessions back, when we talked about the patient experience about that, he says that product to service to experience is the natural progression of a pharmaceutical company. If you move from
Absolutely.
your sensitivity, what you're talking about, the possibilities, right, and go to the services, integrate services with the brand, and not go beyond that, integrate the experience, because ultimately experience counts. This is called experience economy. Thanks, Raja. There is a concern here. Professor Vivek put, patient group hardly exists in India, right? So both of this question is both of you, Dr. Jayaprakash and Velu. What can we do?
See, actually, it's a very important question. Most of our times we tell A doctor sees 100 patients, he doesn't have time. I'll tell you in a different way. I also have a lot of patients. When a patient comes first visit, spend 15 minutes time. I spend 15 minutes time first visit. Second visit, 10 minutes I spend, because in first visit I am connected with the patient. Second visit, 10 minutes. Third visit, 5 minutes. Fourth visit, it just hardly takes 1 minute. Sixth visit by technology. Most of the times doctors don't spend with the new patient time. First time new patient, if you spend time with the patient, it is very easier in subsequent visits. Otherwise, the first visit itself, they'll spend 1-2 minutes. Second visit, always. I think the art of treating a patient is, during your first visit, the doctor should connect to the patient. Second, third visit is very easier because you know the patient. I always remember, okay, God has given me gift. I even remember the name of the patient. When the patient second time when they enter, I call by name. Em Ramaya, how are you? Means in Telugu I ask, Ramaya Bagunnara. He feels very He even, suppose he may have a lot of things to discuss with me. He'll ask only, sir, now this is only complaint. So, you should know how to art. Otherwise, if you sit with some patients, ask different questions, it will take 1 hour. Because some patients also will be keep on asking you different questions. I think what is the actual problem, and that makes easier because you are not losing that connect with the patient. I think that makes very simpler. Most of the times we say, I'm seeing 100 patients, I don't have time. If I talk to this patient 5 minutes, the bell will come from the reception. Even if I talk more than 15 minutes with my patient, my receptionist calls me and says, sir, 15 patients are waiting, she says. So I think it's all how you manage the time. See, doctors are not very good in managing the timing. I think if you manage the time, see, doctors are always running. I think if you manage the time, family, work, balance, I think balance is very important. Then you can manage. Otherwise, it becomes, it's very difficult. It all depends on how you, first time very important. I always believe diabetes education is very important. If you educate the patient, I always tell my diabetes, my nurse also, before they come to me, they are educated. Even for small things, self-monitoring and, any small, what is diabetes and everything, it makes easier. So I always believe in a teamwork. Holistic approach is very important.
Yeah.
Will you have any comments on?
Yeah, so actually, I would say that diabetologists or the doctors who manage diabetes have embraced this long time ago. In terms of holistic management of the disease, I think I had nobody better than a diabetes specialist who does it right from the beginning. They cover everything, right from ophthalmology to food to everything. So they give holistic care. So I agree with Dr. Sai saying that you don't have so much time for every patient at every visit. You need to prioritize. You to give right time to the right patient. Probably the first time is very critical because all the diseases brings in anxiety in a patient, whatever may be the disease.
Very important.
Patient is worried and he's anxious. So I think the first visit is going to make a big difference. If at all you can take care of the anxiety. Of course, you've got a disease and I'm going to manage it this way, and you give him that kind of a comfort. I think his motivation will be very high.
Yes.
And also what kind of counseling you do in the first visit determines whether he's going to get controlled or not also, because I think, sir, you will agree with me, because that's a critical piece, especially in managing hypertension. If you give a drug, the patient needs to be motivated to take the drug. First visit itself, he understood that this is a serious disease. I need to take the drug. Doctor has told me I need to control my BP. So I think that is a critical piece for me. And also, in my opinion, this COVID sometimes is also a blessing in disguise. I see many doctors try to connect with the patients through digital means, which was not happening previously. Now, with all this various kinds of softwares available, I will not mention all the names, but all. So these are all softwares allow doctors to connect with the patient. We have recently done some cardiology connect with almost 60 patients of his who regularly meet him. And they were so much elated. The meeting was planned for 1 hour. It went on up to 2.5, 3 hours. There are so many questions, and doctor this time had a lot of time to answer, which is also true, which was not the case previously, because he's not seeing patients physically. So he has dedicated that particular time for his patients. I think moving forward, if this is going to continue for some time, this is one thing which the medical fraternity can do, and probably the pharma fraternity can help connect the doctors with the patients, which is not happening at this time because they don't have time. Otherwise, once the things open up, you will not have even lesser time because you will see a rush of patients coming in. I think a specific time allotted to digitally connect with the patients will make a big difference, in my opinion. That's my take.
Very rightly. I think this is the high time we should use digital. And actually, in COVID era, both doctors as well as all people, we're talking about the high consumption of the internet, right? Because people are using digital. But there is a caveat. We became too mechanical. I see situations where wife and husband both sitting in the same table. Instead of talking, they are texting each other. Right?
Agreed.
So in high-tech
Exactly.
era, we should not leave touch. Sorry. High touch is important. In high-tech era, one of the very celebrated marketing guru said that actually, Philip Kotler, he says that in this connected world where everything is technology, what is lacking is the touch, the empathy. In other words, you can say that how
Correct.
to integrate technology with empathy is the challenge now we are facing on that. I have a question here. I got it from Hemraj Sharma. He writes, how can we move towards patient centric? Hope it is a valid question. And yeah, so let us take this is important questions. All of us know that it is good to be patient centric, good to be empathetic, but the question is how to know how. I was talking just before this conversation is that there are groups, there are experts, there are people, there are discipline who are working on that area, and pharma should be open to embrace those learning, those ideas, those works to implement in your organizations. I was this year, in the beginning of the year, 2nd of the January, Professor Vivek, who is in the panel here, who is in the participants here today, he organized a very beautiful workshop in Ahmedabad. I was privileged to be part of there, and we discussed with the industry leaders, the who's who of the industry based in Ahmedabad. They were there. So we thought we explore the possibilities about know-how part, how we can be more patient-centric, how we can really give a good patient experience, how doctors can be using technology without much of hassle, rather with the high touch, with empathy. So what comes to my mind, and many of the pharmaceutical company, many of the healthcare organizations, including Mayo, they are using is adopting some methodology called design thinking. So I am personally very fan of that. In my previous organizations, we have deployed that. We saw the value of that. So what I suggest you, Emraj, and all the panelists, all the participants here, to try to understand, try to learn how design thinking can help you to really be a patient centric, to really be a patient experience driven company, and give you dividend in a more effective way, more efficient way. So this is a very famous model developed by IDEO and a Stanford University D School. I was trying to connect one of the IDEO professionals for you to bring, and maybe next week or maybe in a special session, I am to bring a very senior IDEO, ex-IDEO professionals who are precisely working on healthcare. So design thinking process methodology can be used in all aspect of the life, business and practices. But this person, I with so much of contact, I could have identified him who's working on any healthcare. So maybe one special edition of this life after lockdown will be focused on healthcare, how design thinking can be helpful, patient
Yeah,
centricity.
Mr. Pranav, if you permit me, I think we have a very good example already on this particular design thinking process. I think most of the pharma leaders might know about this particular example. This is about GE's scanning machine. I don't know how many of you know about it. The story about how they made the scanning process very easy for a child. No, it's a very traumatic process for a child to get scanned for whatever illness it is. So the top lead of GE found we need to have a solution on this, and he adopted this design thinking process. What he did was he spent his time in play school with children. What are their needs? What do they like? What do they want to do? So then he actually interacting with them for close to 2 to 3 days. He came up with this adventure series. In fact, he made this entire scanning room into an adventure kind of a series with a lot of cartoon images. Once it is like a space station for a child who just goes in, has fun. Even inside, it is all colorful, vibrant. So they made such a big difference to the entire scanning process, taking away this trauma for these patients. You know what has happened after this? Because the time consumed for every patient came down substantially. There is no need for anesthetologist costs. So it is also giving a big financial upside for the company. At the same time, they got the right cost for the patient. Now the patients are happy to get scanned. So this is one of the examples which I thought of when you put up this exhibit on design thinking. Starting from empathy, he empathized with the patient, he ideated, and then he executed very seamlessly so that more and more patients could get both the experience is win-win, for the patient as well as for the company. Both ways it was good. I think this is the way we should move forward. I think this is a good example. I'm sure many of you must have seen. There's some interesting questions.
Very rightly said, Velu. And actually, I remember I have shown that my final slide in Ahmedabad Management Association. I was talking about workshop for pharmaceutical leaders on design thinking. The same slide, the scanning machine, which came outcome of design thinking, I have actually used that for this workshop.
Great.
Now, there are so many remarks and questions here. Let us take a few because we are 5 minutes here. Many pharma companies are doing diabetes and cardiac camp to develop relationship with doctors and patients, but patient education is still the part which is not touched as needed. Thus, moving to digital era will help how to connect the bridge. Both panelists' view will be appreciated. Yeah, I'll start with Dr. JP and then Velu.
Yeah, and during this last 2 months, I'm seeing some companies are coming up with some patient education videos. I will tell you positives of videos and negatives of videos. So I don't want to mention name of the companies. So one company has come with a very innovative idea of animated one, very positive messages from how diet, meditation, and compliant with medication. I was really impressed. There was no company products, nothing was there. The one which I liked them because my photo was reflecting in the first panel with Dr. Jayaprakash, then subsequently the video. And there was no thing that product, nothing. So they showed me, I said, okay. Then I sent to all my patients. Patients are very impressed with the video. They thought that I have made the video and sent. The second videos where I'm not saying that I should be there in every video, where some companies have come with their own innovation videos, where they'll first will talk about one, two thing about diabetes, then subsequently about complications, some panickiness, COVID-19 diabetes, high risk, subsequently, and final slide is products. So their intention might have been good, but it gives you a negative message. Last slide
Absolutely.
is products.
Yeah.
And important message
right.
I am not getting. I'm getting only panic message. So I am not forward to my patients. The first video, which is very animated, very positive messages. Just like during lockdown, what you can do. Not that you're a diabetic, you will become this, that, you'll be, means no negative messages. So I liked one video. The other video which was created by a big company, I'm not saying small company, very, very big company, but somehow I didn't like it. I didn't forward to my patients. So sometimes patient education videos, selecting patient education videos is also very important.
Interestingly, actually, in India, the language
for
is
the
a
doctors,
problem.
yes, and where especially
Many literacy is a problem. People are not educated. So if you create a booklet in a local language also, there will be always a large number of illiterate person who will not be able to read it. But as Dr. JP was doing, if you create a video in local language, I think it can,
Animated.
everybody has a mobile and you can actually touch every single person in the even the poorest, remotest place in India. That is the possibility
Agreed.
technology is giving. I see Dr. Raj Sekhar's point here. He was asking Dr. Shai, how would you adopting digital teleconsultation influence the human-centric approach to treatment? And Dr. JP has rightly responded that how he has been doing. This is not a theory. This is he has been practicing every day. Only thing that we need to enable all the physicians to really use in a more patient-centric way, in a more effective way, thinking the last mile patient also, how you can connect and reach to this patient. We are closing to an end, so very quickly, one minute summary from my both of the panelists. What you see how about the empathy or human centric possibilities in healthcare?
I think during this COVID-19 period, we learned we can have technology will be an enabler for patient education videos. It should be compliant with the pharma medical team, and they discuss with the doctor also. Some connect is there, so they take their viewpoints. I'll prefer to have more of a positive videos. Let us not talk about complications. Let us talk about preventive methods, how to prevent complications, rather than that if you have diabetes, you'll have heart attack. If you have diabetes, you'll have kidney failure.
correct. True.
Velu,
I think he's got, yeah. So I think I will answer this question and close it, because this is Mr. Krunal who's asking. Yeah, it is a very important thing in this digital era. We need to improvise on patient education, as Dr. Sai has rightly said. Use the platform to give the right message to the patients. Don't panic them, which is not the right idea to do.
Yes.
And don't push your product content through that. I don't think any company which is really compliant would ever do it. And it's not that they don't want to promote their products, but this is not right from the patient perspective, that you send a message from the doctor with product names, which is not ideal at all, which is not going to get them anywhere. As rightly said by Dr. Sai, that's not the right thing to do. But digital platforms, yes, very good opportunity to educate patients. Now there is also time for patients to know about the disease. Again, I will say this COVID is a blessing in disguise, not only for the doctors, not only for everyone. I think this is the time to reflect upon what is happening to their health, as you rightly started in the beginning. Health is a priority for everybody. Now everybody knows that they can live without going to restaurants. They can live without doing expensive shoppings. But health definitely is a priority. I think many governments have realized it. They give a lot of support to their own population by giving some Ayurvedic, Siddha medications as well. But ultimately, the bottom line is health is important. If you are healthy, everything will fall in place. For you to be healthy, I think you have to be empathetic, healthy and wealthy, absolutely, and be empathetic as well. So that as a company, we believe in that. So we should follow that you have to be more and more empathetic, see the human side of it. As rightly said by sir in the beginning, that many issues were there, that doctors were not taken care in the beginning. There are a lot of negative press in the media about against the doctors, means there are a lot of hue and cry that they were not allowed inside the society, etc. I think this is not the right thing to do. In my opinion, still it is only a small part of it. There are many good people. As a company, many pharma companies have come forward to do a lot of help, as he rightly said in the beginning, not only in terms of providing masks to doctors, but overall in terms of participating in solidarity trials, etc. So in that way, everybody is doing the bit. I think moving forward, if we are in the field to be human, right? We are in a pharmaceutical environment and a healthcare environment. The human should be part of it. And there is no second thought about it. We have to work towards it. And that's the only way we're going to move forward. That's it from my side, Mr.
That's
Pranab.
right.
Thank you so much.
I think the best part, the bottom line is that I don't remember in my lifetime so far the health watch this much of focus, not only one state or one country or one city, entire globe. The first priority now is health. And
Health.
as being the key element of this health system, the doctors as well as pharmaceutical professionals. We should leverage this opportunity where everybody is giving priority to the health, everybody is putting resources for the health. We should leverage it with the most effective way, so that it should not last for just a few months or few weeks or few years. It should do a sustainable difference, change in the whole system, and impact a huge humanity. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you both the panelists. Thank you being here.
Thank you, Pranav.
Thank you so much. Thanks
you.
for organizing it, Pranav. Nice to see Dr. Sai. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste.
Bye bye. Thanks.
Bye bye.